You've probably noticed them, the ones who never brag, never post their victories on social media. Yet somehow, they always seem a step ahead. They walk through life with a quiet confidence, their success almost invisible, yet undeniably there. You might wonder, how do they do it? How do they make it look effortless while I'm still hustling, still chasing, still waiting for a break? Here's the truth: wealth, real wealth, is never loud. It doesn't announce itself with flashy cars or expensive watches. It whispers, it builds silently, habit by habit, day by day. And the people who master these habits understand something most of us forget. They don't chase validation, they cultivate value. Imagine the freedom of not needing anyone to approve your choices, of having patience so deep that the world's chaos barely touches you. That's the invisible power quietly wealthy people wield. But here's the twist: these habits aren't glamorous. They aren't headlines. They aren't the quick fix formulas sold online. They're simple, they're strategic, and they take a kind of discipline that, at first, feels almost boring. The kind of patience that seems slow, even tedious. Yet, within that stillness lies the secret to multiplying time, energy, and opportunity. You see, quietly wealthy people understand a hidden law. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results. Think about it every morning. Most of us wake up chasing what's urgent, reacting to what's loud, scrolling, endlessly reacting. But those who quietly amass wealth, they focus on what matters. They create routines, mindsets, and strategies that the world never sees. While everyone else is busy proving themselves, quietly wealthy people are busy improving themselves. They aren't racing, they're preparing. They aren't competing, they're strategizing. And here's where it gets emotional. This isn't about money alone. It's about freedom, security, peace, the ability to live life on your own terms, without compromise, without apology. And here's something most people miss. They don't start with a bank account. They start with their mind. The habits they form, the way they treat their time, their energy, their relationships, their focus, these are the invisible currencies of quiet wealth. Imagine realizing that every choice you make today, every bit of discipline you enforce on yourself, every moment you resist distraction, is quietly stacking into the life you dream about. That's powerful. That's emotional. That's the reason you feel both inspired and a little uneasy as you read this, because it challenges everything you've been told about success. So, if you're ready to stop chasing noise, to stop comparing your life to the flashing screens around you, to actually understand the habits that turn ordinary people into quietly wealthy powerhouses, then you're in the right place. By the end of this video series, you'll see success as a show to be watched, but as a life to be built strategically, patiently, consistently. And in that understanding, you'll find freedom. Now that you've glimpsed the invisible world of quietly wealthy people, it's time to dig deeper. Let's start with the first habit: discipline. Discipline isn't a word that excites most people. It feels restrictive, like a cage you're forcing yourself into. But quietly wealthy people see it differently. They see discipline as freedom. Freedom from chaos, from indecision, from living a life dictated by impulses or fleeting desires. They wake up early, they plan their day, they stick to routines that others break under the slightest temptation. And while it may seem mundane, this discipline compounds quietly, invisibly, into results that no one can argue with. Next comes patience. The world screams at us to move fast, to chase instant gratification, to prove ourselves constantly. But quietly wealthy people play the long game. They understand that wealth, in its purest sense, is cultivated over time. They resist the urge to show off, to seek approval, to make impulsive moves just because everyone else is rushing. And in this restraint, they gain something priceless: perspective. Perspective allows them to see opportunities where others see obstacles. Perspective allows them to act decisively while the crowd panics. And emotionally, patience cultivates peace of mind that the rest of the world rarely experiences. Then there's mindset, not just a positive attitude, not just thinking happy thoughts, but a strategic, growth-oriented mindset. Quietly wealthy people train their thoughts as rigorously as their finances. They invest in learning, in understanding the world around them, in mastering skills that others overlook. And they do this quietly, humbly, without the need for validation. Because they know true wealth begins in the mind. It is the foundation on which every habit, every strategy, every success is built. Now let's talk about simplicity. This is where many people falter. They assume wealth requires complexity, constant movement, endless deals, and high-profile connections. But quietly, wealthy people simplify. They cut distractions. They reduce unnecessary choices. They focus only on what moves the needle in their life and ignore the rest. There's an elegance to this approach, a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're doing exactly what matters, no more, no less. Simplicity isn't easy. It requires courage to say no to the things everyone else says yes to. But it's in that simplicity that clarity and control emerge. Finally, this quiet life of wealth is anchored in consistency and strategy. Every action is intentional. Every move is calculated. They don't rely on luck or timing. They create conditions for success to flourish. And consistency, the relentless, patient kind, ensures that small gains become large victories. Strategy ensures that those victories are sustainable, not fleeting. And emotionally, this combination delivers something money alone cannot: confidence. A quiet, unshakable belief that you are building a life that no external force can easily dismantle. So as you begin to see the patterns forming, the discipline, patience, mindsets, simplicity, consistency, and strategy, you may feel a mix of excitement and challenge. Because implementing these habits isn't instantaneous, but the emotional reward is profound. It's the security, the freedom, the quiet satisfaction of knowing that you are no longer a spectator in your own life. You are the architect. By now, you're beginning to understand the invisible blueprint that quietly wealthy people follow. But let's make this real. Imagine two people. One is constantly reacting, checking notifications, chasing trends, buying things they don't need to impress people they don't even respect. The other is quietly building, stacking small wins each day, mastering themselves, their mindset, their decisions. On the surface, the first person might appear more active, more engaged, but underneath it all, they're scattered, distracted, and exhausted. Meanwhile, the quietly wealthy person moves steadily, deliberately, like a chess master thinking 5 moves ahead. That's the subtle power of these habits. They make the ordinary extraordinary without anyone noticing the process. This is where discipline and patience converge. The quietly wealthy understand that every successful life is a story of delayed gratification. They wake up early, not because it's trendy or Instagram-worthy, but because time itself is the greatest wealth they can accumulate. They understand that every hour spent intentionally compounds into years of advantage. It's not flashy, it's almost invisible, but it's unstoppable. And emotionally, it creates a calm confidence. No panic, no, just a deep, unshakable sense of control. Now consider mindset and strategy. Quietly wealthy people treat their thoughts as assets. They invest in knowledge, they reflect, they plan, they evaluate risks and rewards before making moves. Where others see obstacles, they see opportunities. They understand that strategy isn't about luck. It's about designing a life where success becomes inevitable. And here's the subtle emotional shift. This isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about being the best version of yourself. That's why so many quietly wealthy people seem unbothered by the chaos around them. They're playing a different game altogether. Simplicity ties it all together. While the world glorifies excess, these individuals simplify. They eliminate necessary noise. They focus only on what matters, and they create space for clarity and energy. Simplicity is their secret weapon. It allows them to act decisively, to conserve effort, and to enjoy the quiet victories that most people overlook. It's a habit that looks effortless from the outside, but requires courage and discipline from within. Consistency is what transforms these habits from theory into reality. Quietly wealthy people understand that brilliance without repetition is wasted potential. Every morning, every decision, every interaction is a building block. They are patient, strategic, and committed not because anyone is watching, but because they know the long-term payoff is extraordinary. And as they continue this silent accumulation of success, they gain something priceless: emotional resilience. Challenges don't derail them, setbacks don't shake them. They understand that true wealth is built not in a day, but over decades of intentional action. By now, the pattern should be clear. These habits, discipline, patience, mindsets, simplicity, strategy, consistency aren't separate traits. They interlock, forming a framework for extraordinary life quietly lived. And here's the compelling part. These habits are accessible to you right now. They require no celebrity status, no inheritance, no sudden stroke of luck, just focus intentionally and the courage to prioritize what matters. By now, you've seen the blueprint of quietly wealthy people: their discipline, patience, mindset, simplicity, strategy, and consistency. But knowing the habits isn't enough. The real question is, can you implement them in a world designed to distract, derail, and exhaust you? Quietly wealthy people face the same obstacles you do. They battle uncertainty, fear, doubt, and the pull of instant gratification every single day. What sets them apart is not the absence of challenges, it's the mastery of response. They don't let setbacks dictate their path. They treat obstacles as signals, not barriers, as lessons, not punishments. And emotionally, this creates an unshakable foundation, a sense of calm confidence that radiates from the inside out. Think about it: every decision to delay a fleeting pleasure, every moment spent focusing on long-term gains instead of instant wins, is a small victory over the chaos around you. Quietly wealthy people understand the power of momentum. When you consistently act in alignment with your priorities, you create a gravitational pull towards success. And here's the paradox: the world often rewards those who appear busy, flashy, and loud, but quietly wealthy people rarely need applause. Their reward is internal clarity, freedom, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that every choice is moving them closer to the life they want. Now let's talk about emotional reinforcement. Quietly wealthy people reinforce their habits through emotional alignment. They celebrate small wins privately, they reflect on progress, and they anchor themselves to their vision. This isn't about arrogance, it's about confidence rooted in consistent action. They know that motivation is fleeting, but habits are permanent. They aren't swayed by temporary trends, opinions, or distractions. Their focus remains unbroken because their emotional foundation is strong, cultivated intentionally, and reinforced daily. Even when the world pressures them to conform, to overspend, to overcome, to show off, they remain steadfast. Their habits act as an invisible shield against societal noise. And this is why quietly wealthy people seem so untouchable. They are not immune to challenges, but they are immune to distraction. Their attention, energy, and time are sacred, guarded carefully like the valuable resources they are. Finally, let's consider the emotional payoff. Implementing these habits isn't just about wealth, it's about freedom, choice, and control. It's about waking up every day knowing that your life is your own, that you're not at the mercy of chaos, nor dependent on external validation. This quiet confidence, this inner peace, is the ultimate wealth. And here's the subtle truth: anyone can achieve it. It doesn't require luck, it doesn't require fame, and it doesn't require privilege. It only requires the willingness to act consistently, to prioritize what matters, and to patiently build the life you envision. At this stage, you might feel inspired, but also challenged. That's good. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Quietly wealthy people embrace discomfort strategically. They make small sacrifices today so the rewards tomorrow are extraordinary. And as you absorb this, you'll notice a shift, a subtle but powerful realization that the life you want is possible if you're willing to quietly, consistently, and intentionally pursue it. We've reached the final step in understanding the habits of quietly wealthy people. But now the picture should be clear. Wealth isn't about flashy displays, instant results, or public approval. It's built through a combination of discipline, patience, mindsets, simplicity, strategy, and consistency woven into the fabric of daily life. But let's take it a step further. How do you actually integrate these habits into your own life? The answer lies in intentional, actionable routines. Quietly wealthy people design their days around priorities, not distractions. Every task, every decision, every investment of time or energy is aligned with their long-term vision. This means cultivating a morning routine that sets the tone, maintaining consistent reflection on progress, and simplifying life wherever possible. It's in these small, intentional choices that momentum begins to build. Over weeks, months, and years, these choices compound into freedom, financial, emotional, and mental. Think about it. When you no longer react impulsively, when your mind is disciplined, and when every action is strategic, you create a life that others admire quietly without ever having to announce it. And here's the emotional takeaway. This is about more than money. Quiet wealth buys time, security, and peace of mind. It allows you to say yes to opportunities that align with your goals and no to those that don't. It creates confidence that can't be shaken by opinions, trends, or temporary setbacks. When you master these habits, you're no longer controlled by circumstance. You are the architect of your destiny. You are Now, imagine amplifying this power even further. The next step in your journey is understanding the secret routines of ultra-successful people, how they start each day, how they design their environment, and how they maintain focus and momentum. That's why I recommend watching the next video, The Secret Morning Routine of Ultra-Successful People, where you'll discover actionable insights to integrate into your life immediately. Focus on morning routine and daily habits of successful people, and you'll see how the quietly wealthy principles we discussed today align perfectly with these practices. Before we finish, here's a simple but crucial call to action. Subscribe to Wisdom Recorder and like this video. Our mission, our promise, is to be your knowledge source, bringing you insights, strategies, and inspiration to take control of your life, one habit at a time. Remember, wealth quieter, otherwise isn't accidental. It's intentional, it's consistent, and it starts with you today.